Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, imagine this for a second. What if that really bizarre hexagon shape swirling way up on Saturn's North Pole?
Yeah, the one Cassini saw.
Exactly. What if that and those intricate, ancient crop circles people find here on Earth,
Hmm.
and even certain numbers, specific numbers that pop up in the Bible,
Hmm.
what if they're all connected? Like part of a single hidden message?
A kind of geometric language
Oh,
almost.
yeah, a language connecting planets, ancient wisdom, maybe even
Hmm.
warnings about our future. That's the startling idea we're digging into today.
It's definitely out there.
It is. So we're taking a deep dive into an audio source that presents this really unique perspective, tying these things together that seem, totally separate.
Right.
Our mission today is basically to unpack the details, look at the theories the source puts forward, and help you kind of cut through the noise and get to the core ideas.
And it's insightful because it forces you right away to look past just the surface stuff, to see potential patterns underneath, things we usually file under completely different categories.
Okay, so let's start where the source does, really, with one of the big space mysteries. Saturn's North Pole,
That hexagon.
that hexagon. So the Cassini probe, the NASA spacecraft that orbited Saturn for years,
Yeah, incredible mission.
it observed this totally baffling hexagon pattern. Our source calls it a weird jet stream pattern.
And it is weird. Scientists at JPL, it's the Jet Propulsion Lab,
Right.
they're apparently still debating if it's a massive hurricane or, well, something else entirely. But it's huge, covers thousands of miles.
It really makes you rethink how atmospheres work on other planets.
And here's where the source makes a point that maybe doesn't get talked about as much in the mainstream stuff.
Okay.
It points out that when JPL folks talk about it, they usually focus on Saturn's rotational axis, the way it spins.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't explicitly mention Saturn's magnetic North Pole.
Ah, interesting distinction.
Yeah, and the source suggests, well, what if a really strong magnetic pole is actually what's holding that jet stream in that specific perfect hexagonal shape?
Like an anchor.
Kind of, yeah. Similar to how Earth's magnetic field affects our own weather patterns and jet streams.
Okay, so if Saturn's got this potentially powerful magnetic influence shaping its hexagon, what about Earth? Because our own magnetic field is what's doing some strange things lately.
It is indeed. Our magnetosphere, that magnetic shield that protects us.
Right, from solar radiation and stuff.
Exactly. That shield and our magnetic poles themselves, they've weakened. The source says by around about 25%, just in the last, 40 to 50 years?
25%. That sounds like a lot in just a few decades.
It's a pretty substantial shift, absolutely. And one consequence, according to the source, is that our jet streams are, let's say, out of whack.
How so?
Well, normally you have these fairly predictable bands of fast-moving air, like the polar jet stream should be around 30 degrees latitude, the subtropical one near 60 degrees. But now the source claims they're all intermingled, sort of messy, in both the northern and southern hemispheres. It suggests a big change from the norm.
Which points towards something even bigger. This idea of a magnetic pole reversal.
Yeah, the source calls it a real anomaly, a rare event. And I mean, it is rare. It hasn't fully happened for the last 780,000 years based on geological records.
Okay, 780,000 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
But the source makes a claim about the timing of the next one, right? Something quite specific.
It does. This is where it gets quite controversial. It suggests this time the reversal process itself is taking another 500,000 years to occur. Now, setting aside that specific number for a moment, the key point it emphasizes is the danger of a weakening field.
Right, the consequences.
Yeah, an increase in inbound cosmic rays. The source is blunt, calls them carcinogenic, cancer-causing. And it goes further, saying that during a full reversal, when there's effectively no defined north or south pole...
Like the shield is down completely?
Essentially, yes. It claims there'd be no protection at all for people on the surface. And for, all life, really.
Wow. That definitely puts things like daily commutes into perspective.
Doesn't it just?
And the source seems to think we're not getting the full picture on when this might happen.
Yeah, it takes issue with the official narratives. It claims that governments or whoever are telling people this kind of event is maybe 1,000 years off.
But the source disagrees.
Strongly. It believes it's nowhere near it, much closer. And it points to things like the magnetic North Pole moving faster, deviating off its vector, and picking up speed as evidence.
So observable signs happening now.
Exactly. The source sees these changes, the speed, the deviation, as the real-time indicators, the warning signs we should be watching, maybe more than long-term predictions.
Okay, planets shifting, magnetic fields weakening. You'd think that's strange enough, but then the source connects all this to crop circles.
Right. It kind of throws another curveball. It acknowledges people might be skeptical. A crop circle.
Yeah, the ones made with planks and ropes, supposedly.
Well, maybe. But the source says, just look at the patterns. Consider the similarities, even if they seem coincidental at first.
And the main similarity is?
The hexagon. It points out how often that specific six-sided shape appears in complex crop circle formations. Mirroring, it suggests, the hexagon on Saturn.
Okay, that is interesting. Hexagon on Saturn, hexagons in fields.
And it goes beyond just the shape. There's a mathematical link, too, according to the source.
Those numbers again?
Numbers again. It highlights that the geometry in many complex crop circles seems to be based on divisions of 144.
144, how so?
Like patterns built using 36 elements times 4 or 72 elements times 2. That number, 144, apparently keeps showing up as a kind of base unit in the designs.
Huh. So intricate geometry, repeating numbers. Does the source weigh in on who or what could possibly make these things? I mean, the complexity sounds enormous.
It does touch on that. It mentions that some professional opinions suggest the really complex ones, the ones that appear overnight, couldn't realistically be done by people with boards and ropes.
Just too precise, too fast.
Yeah, the scale, the complexity, the mathematical precision, it's astounding. The source doesn't definitively say it's aliens or anything.
Right.
It kind of leaves it open for you, the listener, to consider, but it definitely emphasizes the sheer skill and effort involved, whoever the designers are. It's more than just flattening some wheat.
Okay. And these connections, they keep going deeper, linking the crop circles in Saturn back to something really ancient.
Exactly. The source brings in the flower of life.
Ah, I've seen that pattern. The overlapping circles looks very geometric.
That's the one. An ancient symbol found in many cultures. The source claims its geometry is similar to both the crop circles and Saturn's hexagon.
Okay.
But here's the real kicker, according to this source. It claims this same pattern, specifically including a border made of 144 triangles surrounding a cube shape within the larger design.
144 again.
144 again. It claims this specific configuration has been overlooked on an old temple in Osiris in Egypt.
Overlooked. On a major Egyptian temple. How could something like that be overlooked by archaeologists for so long? Does the source explain that?
It doesn't really go into the why it was missed, not in detail. The implication seems to be that maybe earlier researchers just didn't recognize the geometric or numerical significance. They saw decoration, perhaps, not a potential code or blueprint.
So it suggests this geometric language has been sitting there in plain sight, just waiting for us to understand it.
That seems to be the idea, a timeless, universal language. And that leads us to, well, perhaps the oldest source cited.
Which is?
The Bible.
Right. The source connects that number, 144, directly to what it calls Bible numbers or Bible code numbers.
Yeah, this idea that numbers in Scripture aren't always just literal counts, but can have deeper symbolic meanings.
And it gives examples.
It does. It mentions the 12 tribes of Israel and how in the book of Revelation there are 144,000 people sealed during the times of tribulations.
12 times 12 times 1,000. Okay.
Right. And another example, also from Revelation, describing the New Jerusalem, there's mention of a wall 144 cubits in length, measured for the bride, symbolizing the church or the saved.
So the number 144 keeps appearing in these very specific, often symbolic or prophetic contexts.
Exactly. And the source's interpretation here is quite radical. It's not just saying, oh, look, the number 144 shows up.
No.
No. It's proposing these numbers were deliberately put into this book at the specific points, intentionally placed.
Intentionally? As a what, a time capsule?
Sort of, as a reference for a later point in time. The theory is that the ancient writers, or whoever inspired them, knew the significance of these numbers and geometries and embedded them for future generations to find when the time was right.
Implying some kind of advanced knowledge or maybe guidance back then.
That's the implication, yeah. It challenges conventional views of history and scripture.
Which really brings us full circle, tying Saturn, Earth's changes, crop circles, ancient Egypt, and the Bible all together through this thread of geometry and the number 144. And this leads to the ultimate question the source poses, doesn't it? Are we supposed to be paying attention to this? Is it a warning?
That's exactly where it lands. It asks, why do they always use the same geometry? Is it just coincidence, piling on coincidence?
Or something more deliberate?
Or, as the source speculates, could these patterns be a sort of warning sign for us, specifically related to these big planetary changes like the magnetic field shifts?
It's a profound thought.
Mm.
Are these cosmic and terrestrial patterns trying to tell us something?
Well, the person behind the source clearly believes so. They state there's plenty of evidence to support a very likelihood that these aren't just random, pretty patterns.
That they mean something more?
Yeah, that they carry a deeper meaning, connecting the cosmos, the earth, and ancient human wisdom, or maybe warnings.
So that was quite a journey we just took. We went from Saturn's really strange hexagon
Way out there.
to Earth's magnetic poles doing worrying things, then jumped to these complex crop circle designs.
And the number 144 popping up.
Right, and finding that same number, that same geometry potentially in ancient Egyptian temples and even coded into biblical texts, it's a lot to connect.
It really is. It ties together seemingly disparate phenomena with this thread of geometry and specific numbers.
So the big question for you listening is, what does all this mean? What do you make of it?
Yeah, consider this. What if these things, a vortex on another planet, patterns appearing in fields, numbers in ancient books, what if they aren't isolated incidents?
What if they are connected? Different parts of one big ongoing message.
What could the universe, or, maybe something else, what could it be trying to communicate? Especially about where our planet might be heading.
And how could we even begin to figure out what it means? It's definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. Food for thought.
We definitely encourage you to keep an open mind, keep exploring. Sometimes the most surprising connections are found when you take these deep dives into, well, less conventional ideas and sources.